I'll probably open when you hit the go button.
Okay? Pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't see anybody.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right.
Bill Brown does need to leave.
Okay, I'll let him do the first one. We do the department head, right? First thing we do is public input. If there's anyone here that would like to have a few minutes to say something, please raise your hand, your name and address, and we'll let you talk.
Mary Frainer, 40 Union Street. I just have a quick little letter that I'd like to read, and then I've got a copy for the board. Good evening. I'm here tonight just to talk to you regarding our Walton Village Pool. First, let me begin by telling you how much I loved working as the weekend evening supervisor there this summer. I've always loved our pool, and I was happy to be a part of it this summer. Brian knows his way around that and was happy to help me learn. At times, I felt like more of a community relations person at the pool than a supervisor, answering questions and chatting with everyone every day, but it was exciting. I had one scary moment all summer, and that was when the Department of Health came to do their yearly check. 2.5 hours later, I think we passed. This summer, we had some great lifeguards as well. 3 guards were willing to take the WSI course so that we could have swimming lessons again, which was great. Many of our guards helped cover each other so that when everyone could still enjoy their summer plans. We only lost 3 guards near the end of the summer due to college, and the rest were troopers staying on and working till the very last day on Friday. We had 3 guards work on Friday. 6 of our guards participated in the Laps for Guards and raised over $1,000. With that being said, I am hoping that next summer you might take some of these suggestions into consideration. Our pool is only open for 2 months out of the year, and in order to keep our guards coming back, maybe you should think about a little pay increase. I spoke with a few other supervisors from the towns of Franklin and Oneonta pools, and both are increasing their wages slightly. In Franklin, the new guards do start at $13.20 like we do, but if they're returning guards, they at least get a 50-cent stipend. The pool in Wilbur Park in Oneonta starts their guards off at $14.20, which is $1 more, and the head guard makes $14.80. She also said that she's hoping to get her guards up to $15 an hour next summer. I was very surprised by these numbers considering our pool has always started at minimum wage, and the guards that did do their WSI this summer only made a whopping 10 cents more an hour than the regular guards. I also just listed a few other things, just some ideas that I thought would be fun for next summer. Some like night swim, they'll bring back the water carnival, movie night at the pool. A lot of the older people like to come to. The older ladies love swimming from 5 to 6, so maybe water aerobics, definitely look into that. And also the Laps for Guards. I don't know who assigned what that money is used for, but it says it's used for new lifeguards and for guards that want their WSI. I wondered if the board would consider changing that as well to doing guards that are currently lifeguards that need to recert to help with that, because the 6 guards that did the laps and raised $1,000, all 6 of them need to recert next year. So it would be pretty sad if they were the ones to help raise the money, they didn't get to be a part of that. And I also just included like an article about how hard it is to keep lifeguards and how many of the state parks and pools increase their wages this summer. So if I can give that to Nate, right? You're in charge of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mary.
your help this summer.
Thank you. I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
Anyone else care to say anything? Yes, sir.
My name is Graham Zueva. I live on 189 Prospect Avenue. I'm a lifetime resident of the village of Walton. I've owned several properties in the village in the past. I've been a taxpayer for nearly 50 years. The issue I'd like to bring up is removal of debris, branches, etc. from properties. About 20 years ago, my neighbors and I approached this board, different mayor, different superintendent, and explained the fact that Our houses are up on a bank. We have a steep easement from sidewalks to the street, where if we place bags of lawn debris, they typically end up in the street. The edge of the street is both the one side of the street where parking is available, and it also is the storm ditch where rain goes down through. When bags are there, they end up being waterlogged, driven over, broken, and must be cleaned up and rebagged. When we came here years ago, my neighbors and myself, we asked for the ability to place lawn debris and rake leaves on the edge of the park to avoid this continuing problem. It was agreed upon, and we have done that for the past nearly 20 years. This year, there apparently has been some disagreement with that. I received a note stating that, and my neighbor received a note, that we're not to place the bags on village property. Certainly, I think everyone is well aware the easement from sidewalks to the street is also village property. Doesn't seem like a big problem, but it is escalated to the point where often bags that have been placed in the corner of the park, when the truck arrives to pick them up, instead of picking them up, they're being thrown back over next to my driveway on the other side of the street, which I think is totally unacceptable. I'd like to get the problem addressed. If there was a place we could dispose our own debris, my neighbor and I would be more than happy to do so. Thank you for hearing us.
You're welcome. We'll speak to the board and we'll get back to you on that, okay? Anybody else? Okay. The abstracts, number 2, everybody's had a chance to take a look at it. If there's no addition or changes, we need approval of what motion?
Make a motion to approve the abstracts.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Delaware Engineering? Bill?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Just a couple of highlights. I think I have one asked later in the handout. On the wastewater side, just waiting for DEC and EFC to issue the contract to the village to initiate the I&I investigation, the camera work in the collection system. We do continue to have high I&I issues, so that needs to be addressed. We're hoping to have the cameras out there this fall. We've talked a couple of months about an evaluation of the wastewater plant. We had submitted a preliminary estimate and evaluation to EFC, Environmental Facilities Corporation, with some of the needs at the facility, largely some of the older equipment that's been in place since the facility was initially constructed in the 1970s, so coming up on 50 years in operation there. The preliminary project with an estimated project cost of about $10 million was listed with EFC for a series of different funding programs. The scores were put out last month. The village's project was scored 44 points, and it's based on, the scores are assessed based on need, financial need of the community, what your median household income is part of it, and then what the benefits to water quality are. So the village's score was assigned 44 points. This year, the funding threshold was 34 points, and so we're above the funding threshold. So we would, in theory, be eligible for funding under the EFC programs, which right now are the State Revolving Fund, which has been in place for many years. EPA provides funding to the individual states, and that's, I believe, what funded the initial construction of the wastewater plant was through the SRF fund. Last year, the federal government also passed a bipartisan infrastructure law, $1 trillion. So part of that is going towards water and wastewater infrastructure and amongst other things. So there's what's being called BIL funding is available for the next 5 years. And then the state has also implemented the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act Fund. So there's federal dollars, there's state dollars, they're all administered by EFC, and the village could potentially tap into some of those funding streams. They would be likely part loan, part grant. If awarded based on our score, it does look like we'd be eligible for at least some grant. It looks like the rules are kind of changing, and it's a little bit of a moving target with it, but potentially 50% of a project cost on the sewer side may be eligible for grant funding, and the balance would be a loan with interest rates ranging from 0% to a market rate. So, you know.
Could our I&I be included with that? Could that be part of it?
Yes. So they're, I mean, right now they're kind of set up as individual projects. The I&I is on a track to do the study initially, and have the report, and then the report would be a basis for applying for funding to do the fix, replace a pipe, line a pipe, fix a manhole, whatever that may be. The work at the wastewater plant can go on a concurrent track, but right now it's a separate project. The I&I work is, the study is funded right now. The work at the wastewater plant, the study is not funded yet. You know, we put the initial application in to say, are we potentially eligible? Is our project meeting the guidelines? It looks like it is. The next step is to submit a full application, which requires a full engineering report be prepared to identify that, come up with the costs, you know, for what the project is, what the problems throughout the facility are, what the environmental impacts are, those types of things.
What's the cost of an engineering report?
On the I&I study right now, I believe it's 30,000. So that's the, you know, probably in that range, depending on how in-depth it is.
And for the sewer, paragraph 2, is that what you'd be developing an engineering report for?
Yes, so it would be kind of within the fence. The I&I study is the collection system. You know, we know we've had ongoing issues there, you know, similar but different is the work, you know, within the plant, to upgrade the infrastructure there. So,
Any idea how long before we'd have any kind of knowledge of if we're going to be in the running or anything?
well, we're in the running potentially now if we go. But
Well, we got
to go to the
44.
next
What is
step.
like, what would be like before we always never make that mark because we always were so good. What's the number, like an 80 or a 70, or do you know anything? Is there
I mean, 44 is
a good number?
Is a good number.
Okay, I just wanted to have an idea there.
Did you say the I&I study's funded?
Yes. I&I, it's 80% funded with a state engineering planning grant, also EFC. We applied for that 3 years in a row. Finally, on the 4th year, we asked for 100. The village asked for 100,000. We were awarded 30,000. That funding is being used to pay for the cameras out in the collection system to try to find where our leaks are. So that's in the works. We're trading paperwork back and forth with EFC to get that processed, and then would be on a similar track where we would put an application in to say what's the score to the implementation of that work.
Is 50% the highest threshold for compensation through the grant process?
I believe so right now, yeah. If you're deemed eligible for hardship funding, it's up to 50%. And there's caps in there, 50% up to X million dollars. So there's potential there. You know, it's a question of the village, if you're looking to commit to, you know, doing the initial investment to do the applications and the reports and the planning stuff on the forefront to try to fund the big project.
Another question, if we get this through EFC for the I&I, could we still get funding from another location? Say CWC, we could get money from them. Would that be a separate thing altogether we could get from two different?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, it's...
because I'm working on that end.
Yeah, and I know CWC's got some different programs. There's
Right.
usually targeted things that they can fund this type of project and maybe not that. So you have to kind of tailor the project to meet
Okay,
their funding
I was just curious, if you could
guidelines.
get from numerous,
You can.
Okay.
What happens sometimes if you get money from one entity,
They
the
cut
other
back
one
the
can
rest,
say,
yeah.
you know, you don't have as much need because you're getting it from somebody
Okay.
else. So that's always a balance between the agencies.
Okay.
You can't get money from multiple state agencies. The CWC not being a state agency, you could potentially get, you know,
Okay.
some from them to offset some local share.
Okay.
So there's some potential there, but you know, it would be a substantial project, but it is something the village, I think, is in need of, recognizing the parts and pieces we have at the wastewater plant being critical to.
And maybe even
keeping
DEP
everything.
would give us some too, so is that
Yeah.
that's another one too, right?
For part of their
Okay.
part of the facility.
Okay, good.
So, a few different moving targets on that side. Switching gears kind of the other end of the pipe on the water side, the village has been awarded a WIA project, WIA funding there. On the water side, at that time, it was 60% grant, 40% loan. So we are finalizing the design and working through with DPW the layout for the new pipes and upgrades at the well houses. So we're hoping to have that into the health department this month to get their sign off, and then looking to be building that next year. Also on the water side, the Curry well, and I do have a request here. The Curry well we've been talking about for the last several months. The village is using the ARPA funding that was provided to install a new well, hopefully install a new well to replace the existing Curry 3 or 4, Curry 3, which has been in place for several years, and the production has dropped off. So we did the initial test well. That seemed to prove out. We retained Sterling Environmental to do the planning for the next phase, which will be to install the production well and do the testing associated with that. They developed a bid spec, and we'd like to put that in the newspaper to request bids for installation of the well. I did reach out to Dave Merzig just to confirm how we needed to do the bidding process, because this is kind of a unique, and he did recommend going to the, putting the ad in the paper and following the formal bid procedures for that, so.
You need a motion?
That is the
Need a motion?
request we have for the night.
You need a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
So we would hopefully have numbers for the October meeting to present to the board, and hopefully be able to move forward with installation of the well. A slew of testing follows that. If that proves out, then the submission goes to the Health Department and Delaware River Basin Commission for the regulatory sign-off. And if they're in agreement, then the well could be connected to the existing system. So process is moving forward.
We did one round of testing that places everything in compliance, so there'll be another round of testing.
Right. The initial was a small diameter well that we tested just to kind of take a snapshot and see what the water was like, to see if it made sense to spend the money it's going to take to build the big well. So we did a 8-hour pumping test and water quality sampling for the big well, the full production well, which we hope to get 4,500 gallons a minute out of. That's a 72-hour pump test that has to be conducted to prove that the aquifer can support that draw. So that's the next round of testing. That's the only request I have for tonight. The highway garage, we do have a lot of the building materials been delivered, and I know the contractor's finishing up a couple other jobs, and we're looking to have them on site shortly to get the garage up. DPW guys did a good job getting the site prepped and doing a lot of the preliminary work, which definitely saved the village a lot of money, so that was good.
I see there's a lot of large rocks down by the well house.
There's a lot of large rock. Oh, yes, yes.
In Westbrook?
The Soil and Water Conservation District is installing stream protection measures. They've done a couple of projects already, and there's 2 sites ongoing. So that work is to protect some of the water and sewer crossings that we have throughout the village. The village applied to Soil and Water 2 years ago to have, I think it's 13 crossings throughout the village protected. So they're doing those a couple at a time. A couple were done last year. A couple more will be being done this year.
Yeah, we got by the country store and down by the well. Yeah, those two.
So there was one done on East Street.
East Street too, yeah.
Between last fall and this spring. So there's some done, more to go. But the reason for that, in the 2006 flood, there were 6 crossings that were damaged and out of service for a variety of times, depending on their severity. So that resulted in a loss of water supply to the village, and if the sewer line washes out in the creek, that's not a positive thing. So the Soil and Water, with support from DEP and CWC, is implementing protections to protect the water supply, the sewer system, and the village and environment as a whole. So those are positive projects.
Okay,
So yes, that's underway. There's guys out with big yellow toys out
yeah.
moving dirt around.
And it doesn't cost us anything.
Nothing,
No,
nothing,
it's
nada,
fully
no
supported
penny.
by the,
That's a good one.
Soil and Water.
We need more of those. Okay, thank you, Bill. Go to your meeting.
Thank you.
Cedarwood, Shane, John,
Sure.
positive. You know, once you sit here, we got you. Yeah, really, yeah, he's moving up in a while, he's in
St.
the
Gerard Magellan.
Yes, sir.
He's running.
Did most people get the report?
I did.
I did.
No, Mr. Doig didn't get it.
I did not.
Oh, you did now?
I did.
I'll see what happened to that.
It could be on my end.
I didn't find it in my inbox either.
Okay. You had one job. I know.
One job, man.
We had, Lactalis had a few spills, 7 actually, last month that they reported, and we captured most of them and fed them back into the plant slowly. And we periodically get this green cloudy color, and I believe that's, caused by the industrial user. And usually as the flow slows down and the loading, it clears up a little bit over the weekend.
Yeah, and during Fair Week too.
Yeah, they were shut down in the...
They were offline for Fair Week, and
It gives you a chance to catch
things
up.
clear up. Well, that's, again, there's a correlation.
Yes.
So, sorry, Shane, didn't mean to interrupt.
Well,
So was the aroma really us?
no, it's
No,
not
that
us.
was the
They're
forum.
spreading slurry next door.
I told everyone it was us.
That's fine.
So when you get all those phone calls, it's my fault.
1-800.
We only have one request. The concrete in the sludge building for where the truck bay is, from pulling the dumpster in and out, it's the concrete's breaking up, and the steel plate that's on the floor is peeling off the floor. So we'd like to jackhammer that out and repair it and extend the wear pad out to the end of the door.
We usually go through this like every 10 years because 15 tons being dragged out of that building every time we have a load of sludge go out. We did, 17 loads?
Yeah.
Put rubber tires on.
Yeah, we'll talk
Then
to,
the
we'll talk to
budget,
Scott.
we have money in the budget for that?
Yes, we found some money, and the cost of that is for vac reconstruction, $17,900, $552, and there's 75% village cost and 25% for the DEP.
Is there a better material to use than concrete? Like,
It's steel, actually.
And right now, the steel wear plate doesn't go all the way to the end, which is chewed the concrete up. So they're gonna extend that, because I believe back in '02, when they extended the building, we were using a tractor trailer at the time and not a dumpster.
Right. So it was concrete originally, then we went to steel plates, and we've changed the steel plates, I believe, at least twice, if not 3 times already down there. It's just the weight, and unfortunately, the steel plates are not, it's however you fasten it to the concrete, as you know, vibrations, everything's loosening up.
Yeah.
So, the only other thing we talked about at one time was getting some railroad and just see if we can put that across, because it's so thick, that maybe that would hold up a little bit better. Railroad track, old track to put on there, because it is so thick that it may hold up a little bit better.
You can
So
roll
we
it
want to
down.
present that, just a thought, because they're long
Yeah.
enough that they would extend in and out of the building, so.
Makes sense.
But everything, again, it's like every 10 years we go through this. And, almost, it's this, and to Bill's point earlier of the equipment, our clarifiers, our thickeners, everything, they're 40, 47 years old now.
Kind of.
We have 2 newer clarifiers, but unfortunately, the newer clarifiers, because of the equipment, wasn't built like they were built 50 years ago. So the 50-year-old units are still in operation where the other ones, you know, so there's gonna be a time where
Yeah, well, you know,
those
you can
drive
see,
units are gonna have to go.
I have an old washer in my house that is probably 40 years old, and it still
Yeah,
works.
right.
I went to replace it, and when I went to buy it, it says, you know, this will be lucky if you get it 7 years. I said, what? He said, that's the way they build them now. So
Unfortunately.
I'm sure it's with you guys the
They
same
don't make
thing.
money if they don't have to be replaced,
Right.
so.
If they looked at anything else they could put in the concrete other than,
It's, the last, went through, and it's too bad Bill didn't stick around, because when Delaware spec'd it out, it was as hard of a concrete as they could fashion for us with the steel plate on it, but
you know, I was just saying something other than steel plate.
concrete itself broke down too quick. You know, and again, unless our other option is to go back to, you know, we put it out to bid, request that it's a tractor trailer, now you're on rubber tires and somebody's gotta leave a truck there.
I was just wondering if they make it like a rubber mat or something, you know, like to put the spacers in the bridge for expansion joints, or something like that would hold it up and not destroy the concrete process.
I don't know, that's something we can look into. My biggest thing with the rubber is the weight is so,
Yeah. I mean,
you know, it's only on 4 points on that floor.
Yeah,
Right.
very rugged.
But, and then I know Shane said that's the only thing. Well, I'll let you make a decision on that.
We need to make a motion for this.
I'll make a motion to do the repair of concrete.
Second? All in favor?
Like,
Opposed? Carried.
And then back to Shane's point of, I'm stepping on your toes here, I'm sorry. Shane's point with the issues we've been having with spills and capturing enough of adequate data, basically, to look at, you know, what's coming in the plant and, you know, fees that we're gonna start charging. We looked at adding a second influent sampler. If this other contract goes through, there will be a sampling point, hopefully, on village property on our side, so we have access to it. But right now, all we have is our influent and then whatever we're given from an industrial user. And the numbers don't match up, even though, you know, grab samples show one thing, but the other samples don't. So we're considering putting in a composite sampler up on the EQ tank, which will offset from what the influent sampler can take, because we can only take so many samples, fill a jar up, it shuts the sampler off, right? That's as large as, they make like a 5-gallon, that's as large as they go. So if we can put a second one up on the EQ tank and then capture it, so it's running opposite times of the one that we have, that'll give us a better picture as to what's actually coming in the plant throughout the day, especially for the times when they're not notified something's coming in. So for one to sit outside, here's the crazy part, they're around $15,000 because they have to be not just refrigerated, but they have to be heated because of winter usage, so everything is heated on it. For right now, at one of our other facilities, we have a portable that I'm gonna bring down, I'm going up tomorrow to get it. So we can set it outside for right now. It's just a matter of we have to put ice in it every single day to keep the samples cold and viable, but just to better capture the lab data that's coming in. So what I'll do is I'll get more prices for these samplers.
Right.
How much for a building? I mean, have we thought about that? Because next thing you know, we're gonna be right around the corner
Well,
for
here
the
you go.
budget thing.
Not only the
And-
building, which you know the location we're looking at. We're gonna need electric out there, you probably have to have water. So, yeah, we'll run up.
Give us some
a figure
numbers
for
and
you.
some figures that we can work with.
Thursday, I'll be in town Thursday, so if we run over, if you don't mind, just so we can get a measurement and we can tell you how far out.
now,
Okay.
this is actually their effluent pipe, so it's just theirs.
Yep. It's the last point of contact, just their wastewater on village property. And that's basically just down below the Curry well.
Now, didn't we discuss one time with them putting their own in?
There's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we put it on their property, the only way we have access is if they allow us on the property to have access. at least it's what's on ours, and then we could trust the sample, no, you know, not pointing fingers, but
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to doctor it. I
Right.
understand that. But, I mean...
so
we're-
they
we're
have
doing it
one
to- Yeah,
on their end, and we do split samples up with ours and theirs, and our numbers don't
they don't
always check.
match.
So,
All right, get us some numbers and we'll...
okay.
I guess that's about it. One thing I did forget to put on there, we had a New York City DEP inspection on August, and everything was okay.
Good.
I
That's
did
a good
get that
thing,
one.
thank you.
That's my whole
did get
report.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did get that.
And one thing actually is, good news too, is chlorine's becoming available again.
Good.
Sure, our pool's closed.
Well, because we were looking at the possibility, we came up with a system for Cortland. Cortland makes their own chlorine. So we had actually talked about that if it kept going. We're gonna have to do something here, especially if you want to run pools unless you're gonna switch over to a salt pool.
Right.
So, okay, anyway.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Always surprising me with
Butch?
shoots, my friend.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Everyone except for one person got my report. Any questions, concerns?
You gonna pick up the brush?
Maybe.
Yeah, we got to talk later.
Yep. Hopefully be blacktopping this week, possibly filling in wells. See how the weather goes.
Supposed to warm up at the end of the week.
There's a giant pothole at the curb on the corner of Liberty and Platt.
It's full of water right now.
It is.
So you got a couple things on the back?
Yeah, yep. We have some stuff on Auctions International right now. Actually, the bidding ends tonight at 8:40 p.m. So that was the last group of surplus stuff we sold. Now I'm looking to sell, Brian finally got his new truck we ordered 2 years ago. So I would like permission to sell that truck as surplus equipment. Then there's also a snowplow to go to that truck, but I'm gonna sell them separately. Because the truck is in very bad shape. I think we'd benefit better if
Probably
we
get more
split them up.
plows on the truck, yeah.
So yes, I'd like to declare those to be surplus equipment.
Make the motion that we authorize the sale of the surplus equipment.
Second?
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And I've got 3 guys I'd like to send off the water conference, the fall conference for water. That would be Matt Meyer, Keegan Higley, and John Hoffman.
Make a motion to send them to the conference.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And I
Who was the
have
third person?
John Hoffman, Keegan Higley, and Matt.
Matt.
And I have one more thing that I didn't have on there because it's been kind of an ongoing deal. So this year we budgeted for to replace one of our lawnmowers. And back when we were gonna replace this thing, we got a quote of, I think it was like $14,800. With everything going on now, the mowers are no longer available. The company we typically use can't even order them because they're so far behind. We did find one that was comparable. We got quotes on a couple others that are somewhat comparable. And if any of them are even still available, they're anywhere from 16,000 like 16,500. So we budgeted 15, so there's a little difference there, so I would like permission to potentially,
Get more money out of your plow.
maybe. Because they're not gonna get any cheaper, that's for sure.
Well, hopefully we'll get some money out of here to help out.
Is there anything available?
The last I knew, Kevin's got to double check tomorrow. Locally, we do have one mower that isn't exactly what we're looking for, but it would work. I believe that one was right around 16.4. Then there's another one that was more what we were looking for, a little bit smaller engine, but it would work. That one was 16.2, if that was even still available. Then there's another brand altogether we're possibly checking into, and that one was like 16.2, 16.3. So, but back before, when we were doing this, we budgeted 15 because the more was 14, 6 or 8 or something.
Could we
Now it's
just
no longer available.
sell the ones that are semi-obsolete as salvage and then start over?
Sure.
And buy all new ones and then just
Absolutely.
take a loan?
You're getting one big enough so to cut down the hours you're gonna use them anyway, right?
Right. 72-inch mower deck.
Yeah,
Which,
okay.
same thing we have now, we're looking to replace. This definitely, it's been very good for us, but it's time to move on.
So you want to get permission for that one right
Permission to
now?
go, right.
So,
Have a motion?
Make a motion to buy that mower.
All in favor?
We can get it.
Aye.
Opposed?
So are we capping it?
Right, I'd cap it at 16.5.
15.5.
I think we should be safe. And that's all that I have.
Okay. Thank you. Don't go away, we gotta talk later. Code, Josh.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Everybody got my report? I don't have anything extra, unless if anyone has anything for me. No?
Pretty happy.
Yeah? You? No?
You're out
I
there
even
making-
smiled today, how
out
about
there
that?
Making your presence known.
Okay. All right. Other than that, that's it. I guess I'll see you guys later.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Chief? Last but surely not least.
Good evening.
Evening.
Everybody got my report?
Yes. How about that?
All right. Got it. So, couple things. We're up for our firearms recert and training. So I'm asking permission for this month, depending on the range, availability and stuff, to be able to send all our guys up for requals. I don't know exactly what day that's gonna be at, but I'm hoping to be before the October meeting, so I was looking to get that permission this month.
So that's in Delhi?
No money, just what we have for ammunition.
Yep.
Make a motion to send it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The other thing is,
Look at this. Eric.
Eric?
Yep, got it.
another training that Delhi's offering on September 29th. Officer Mitchell would like to attend it. It's for responding officers that can handle crisis negotiations until all the resources get there, and crime scene evidence preservation. So that's also another free course that they're offering. It would just be,
Is Devin going to?
I'm gonna ask for one other person to go to. If I can work it in as far as the scheduling goes, I'd like to get at least 2 people to go. She's expressed a lot of interest in it. I'd like to go send at least her and one other person to that meeting, or to that training on the 29th.
Make a
And
motion.
Delhi as well?
It is in Delhi, yep.
I make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Was there a cost to that?
There's no cost to that. Speaking of learning, SUNY Delhi has reached out to us again for an internship. They have a second-year student who's shown interest that they want to come out and do an internship with the police department. We've done this the last couple
Yeah.
years and had a lot of success with it. He's he's from Davenport, graduated from Charlotte Valley. Seems like a really good kid. So I'm asking permission if we could start that internship as soon as possible. Obviously, he'll sign all the waiver forms and make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I also am talking to, I have 2 possible candidates for hiring for part-time positions.
Yay.
So the problem is neither one of them are qualified yet. So my approach to them is going to be similar as what it was before in the past. If we could possibly pay for whatever books, the ammo that's associated with it, uniforms that are associated with it. We wouldn't pay them to go through the actual coursework while they're attending the school. But my pitch would be is that obviously we would qualify them as soon as we could with firearms, and they'd be a, second hand anyways for our patrol now. So that academy is in Kingston, and it's going to start in January. So if that's, I haven't spoke to them per se about this yet. I wanted to get the approval first before I threw that out there, but I know one of them would at least be interested in going through that if we were able to come up with something like that.
I mean, that's just regular, just things we've done with the last two, right?
I'm sorry?
You're talking about the same thing we've done?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a different police academy, that's all. This one's in Kingston.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, same.
difference in location.
Right, that's pretty much it.
I mean, it's pretty much all, that's all set up. And as far as the uniforms, I know, the new contract, that was one of the things that was brought up. We never bought anything for them before, and then when they came to the department, they wound up using their own stuff, and then they wound up to pay for it after.
Right.
So I don't.
I'm not talking about fully equipping
No.
anybody with, a whole police outfit, or vest and all that stuff, till they actually became on duty.
So are we talking about new candidates to our police department?
That's
or-
correct. So they would, sign the contract that we've done. We did this before in the past,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's in the contract that we would do that.
We've done this before.
We've done it before.
Yep, that's for your full-time people. So the contract has nothing to do with
right.
part-time.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is
Contract,
right. What's in the contract is for specifically for full-time. Like if we were going to send somebody, like they had a full-time slot and we were going to send them away to the police academy, that's specifically for that.
Yeah.
Part-time is a little bit different. There's a little bit more of a variance that you can kind of negotiate.
Do they agree to work for us for a certain period?
Yeah, so they'd fall into the same kind of contract that we
As
have.
I say, it falls underneath there, if they decide they want to drop out after 2 or 3 weeks and we've got all the money invested,
Right.
they reimburse us for it.
Correct.
That's in there.
Correct. The village wouldn't be out per se as far as if something like that would happen.
That's budgeted, this proposal.
Part-time, there's
Yeah,
money for part-time.
yeah, I would have to,
Part-timers will save us overtime. I'd make a motion to do it.
Yeah, we're gonna have some part-time anyway.
right, no,
Is there a
absolutely.
second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. And the Delaware County Fair seemed to be pretty well received again this year. I don't know what the numbers were, but it seemed like it was pretty good.
I saw online, it looked like somebody put 72,000. I don't know if that's,
Good,
Accurate
bad,
number.
right, yeah, I don't know what
I think it's a little bit less than last year, but.
Okay. So we spent a total of 60 hours in traffic this year between everybody, believe it or not. I think 6.5 hours of those came on Friday. It was just off the wall. Danny's, of course, was there to provide lemonade and waters, and because you never have enough. When you I literally stepped in traffic at 2 o'clock thinking I was going to be done in 15, 20 minutes, and 7:15 came and we got out of traffic. So the guys did a really good job. Everybody pulled together.
Good.
Got a lot of assistance from our part-time guys too. So that's really all I got.
Thank you, just hang out around.
Yep, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Okay, trustee reports. I'm gonna start this end here.
Nothing.
Nothing for you? Dick, do you have anything?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay. Eric, you got anything you want to talk about?
Just to add that the replacement of well monitoring probes for our existing telemetry system should be done by tomorrow. So that's good for maintaining water system.
That's with the lightning arrestor?
Yeah.
Yellow's at it too.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Nate?
Well, the pool's wrapping up for the year. The Candy Russell Laps for Lifeguards event. I got a smaller number. I was told $730. Over 1,000 sounds better. But
Yeah, a few more.
Either way, our lifeguards did really well. We had 6 lifeguards participate: Madison Hoffman, Colby Frainer, Andrew Didazio, Soraya Vesterfelt, Kindred Church, and Will Pettit. And we thank them very much for helping to raise some money. And we will look further into how it's used for sure. Despite the chlorine shortages, we were able to get enough chlorine little bit by little bit to stay open. We're very happy with our basketball and arts and crafts programs. They were very successful this year. Gearing up for the fall, we're going to have Pee Wee football practice and all kinds of other sporting events down there. So we would like to remind people to please be very careful when they're driving in and out of the park to look out for students, because there will be a lot of students down there. We have an application in for a mower. We're in need of one more mower to finish out the grass growing season. There's still a little bit of grass growing. And I'd like to make a motion to hire Kurt Ellerson, who has applied at $13.20 an hour for the remainder of the season this year.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much. And that's pretty much what I've got for the parks and the pool. The theater planning is going on still for the green room and backstage projects that they're looking to accomplish. We have a classic flicks this month, The Magnificent Seven, on September 15th. That's Thursday night at 7 p.m. We have a coffee house event coming up, The Whispering Tree, and that is on September 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Andrea Paternoster Room. And then we have the Manhattan Short Festival. It's coming to Walton again this year, and that's this month, September 22nd and September 24th. And that's always a big hit. It's always really cool. And we hope that lots of people will come out and see it. And then we have a Music on the Delaware concert, Low Lily, and that's on October 1st at 7:30 p.m. And that's all I've got for today, sir.
Thank you. All right.
Question about the town recreation contribution money
Yeah.
for the recreation program. Will that help in Mary's request for maybe giving the lifeguards more money?
No, because it's always the same amount.
How much is it?
We agreed to it,
33, 32.
32, I think it's 32.
And we have it all spent already?
We just put it in the budget.
We just put it in the budget.
We should certainly look into the lifeguard wages. We have a hard time getting and retaining lifeguards. New York State has recently upped their lifeguard wages to $20 an hour. And obviously, we can't afford that.
Talk to Brian, because Brian's the one that budgets for
Yeah,
the
that's
salary.
for Brian.
so.
I think everybody's looking for our lifeguards. It's been an issue, so we'll look into it.
So we certainly will look into that.
Okay, mayor's report. I usually read letters that people write in. I have a letter that I want to read. It says, Mayor Snow and the Village of Walton Trustees. It is unfortunate that I feel a need to write this letter of concern. My concern is for the neighborhood around Bush Avenue, Guild Avenue, and Cherry Street. There is inconsiderate member of the neighborhood that is putting our homes and therefore property values at risk. Empire Fabrication has been having truckloads after truckloads of dirt and other debris dumped on their property. I do recognize that it is their property, however, the land has been raised feet above the height of the street. My major concern is that the elevation of this property will cause a water drainage problem for this neighborhood. The drainage here is already an issue, and this will intensify in many more times over. There is a stream at the end of the property that has been partially filled in, and the wetlands have also been filled in. After rain, where will the runoff go? Into our properties, causing pondering and a wet pavement. This neighborhood already has poor stormwater drainage. Many neighbors have noticed the dumping situation and the level height of the new ground. Some may have already contacted your office. I understand the village has initiated some inquiries and regulations with regulated agencies. My thanks to the highway superintendent, to the code enforcement officer initiating some research. The business owner continues on a daily basis to receive more truckloads of dirt debris. Are there permits in place? Are they enforced? Was the school board responsible enough that when they went to contract for a new sidewalk and driveway to ask the contractor where the debris was going? Yes, business are important to communities, but not at the expense of the neighborhood home owners. We pay our taxes and are important backbone to the village. Many businesses come to and go their tax shelter empire, and better grant comes along. Mr. Mayor, it has been one of your well-discussed goals to have business return to Walton. Let's hope that our neighborhoods are equally important. My hope is that all will take this time and interest and effort to solve the situation. Sincerely, Mary Doig. Josh has looked into it. Butch has looked into it. It's not within our purview ourselves as a village to do anything about it. However, there are the DEC and other agencies we've been told are involved in this, and we're just going to wait to see what action they take. Correct? Am I correct, Josh, on that? Yes? There's nothing more we can do personally, right? But that's the best we can do. DEC comes in. I heard there was a drone flying over, and I'm sure, whatever. It's out of our hands, quite honestly. There's nothing.
So do we forward the letter to the DEC? So it's only DEC involved because there's a stream over there.
Right.
We don't have official wetlands in the village.
Yeah, you do. You have two wetlands.
Yes, a national wetland.
Right. One's a national. One.
Well, they're both national, just classified differently.
They're classified, two different classifications. So but that's not in our.
Those came up either.
So that's up to them to take care of. No. Yeah, I want business to come in, of course. If it's something within us, huh? The same thing, right?
No.
Oh, another letter. Oh,
It's a different letter.
okay.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't know I had another. All right, there's another letter. To the Walton Village Board of Trustees. I am requesting a 2-hour parking sign be added in front of 11 Townsend Street, which is the location of my business, A Time to Hill Massage Therapy. Not only do I practice out of the office, but another massage therapist, chiropractor, and an anesthesian will all see clients at an hour. It is a commercially zoned area, and with little nearby parking, we frequently have clients who have trouble finding parking in front of our buildings. Since the primary clientele base is seeking pain management, it can be a difficult situation for many to have to walk further to seek treatment. Practitioners park in the back of the parking lot, which has room for 3 vehicles at the time, so our schedules are staggered to fit those needs. There are already 2 such signs in front of 5 Townsend Street and 21 Townsend Street. However, 11 Townsend Street in between them, and that signage is seemingly ignored. Perhaps the signature being too far apart, the drivers realize it pertains to the full section between it. If indeed it does, one states 2-hour parking at 5 Townsend Street, the other at 21 Townsend shows 2-hour parking. So the signals itself inconsistent. Perhaps further confusion the issue of whether or not it is statute for that space between. While the required interval of 200 feet signal looks accurate, in this case a smaller interval would be beneficial. The funeral home is on the same side of the street and the hairstylist is close by, neither of whom have their own parking, but also rely on street parking. The currently existing signage street, however, the neighborhood residents and other business employees seem to use street parking sufficiently in front of 11 Townsend Street for all-day parking, despite having their own driveways to use or similarly distance walk to Gardner Place parking lot, which holds many more vehicles. I asked for the additional sign to decrease the struggle of small business owners, patrons, to find short-term parking, making it more convenient for them to utilize our services, particularly those that seek pain management. The 4 practitioners at 11 Townsend Street would all benefit from the limited parking time, as would means fewer people parking on the street between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and more parking for the patrons. Thank you for considering the request. I look forward to your decision. Rachel L. James, M.P. But will you take a look at that?
Yeah.
Please, and get back to me on it. Because we should have some kind of, because it makes sense what she's saying, so.
I'm pretty sure it's already posted, and we can't
for them, like, he has space now. So I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go and check it out tomorrow.
Yeah, and get back to me on it so I can let it know. Okay, the only other thing I have, I know a lot of people keep asking about what's going on with the bowling alley, what's going on with all the different things in the village, and I posted on Facebook last night, but I'll tell everybody again. The bowling alley, Tom Doyle is doing very well. The electric is done, the water is done. He painted the outside of the building. He sent me a picture this weekend. He purchased 12 lanes, brand new lanes that he got out of a place in New Jersey. And he's going to be bringing them down in the next few weeks and putting them in. He has the guys to install them. He has the guys to run the place. So that's good. Next to it, the restaurant, which used to be the Loft, Time Out years ago. The guy wants to come in, wants to make it a rib place, rib and burgers and stuff like that. The last two stores, where JCPenney's used to be and the one next to it, Vinny's and Joe Pizzeria that was going to open up by Tom's Tire Barn, they're taking those two. One spot will be a restaurant, the other spot will be where they make the pizzas and the takeouts and stuff like that. And he has one more other person interested to go in there, so all the storefronts should be full. So we're looking pretty good. As far as Tom's Tire Barn, and I've heard everything from Taco Bell to whatever you want to have over there. There's a corporation that bought it, it's called BAPA Limited, LLC. I went online and looked for them. They've opened up about 60 Dunkin' Donuts / Baskin Robbins combination in the upstate area, from Binghamton to Syracuse, all around. Even though they haven't told us what it's going to be, you would think that more than likely that's what it's going to be. There's still some cement there that hasn't been cleared because one of the properties we were dropping it off at, the DEP had shut them down and said they couldn't drop it. But we found another place, and that should be cleared out pretty soon. And then he'll get started on it. So also CNC Feed on 39 Howell. That was bought by Steve Nicolai. He's gutted out the whole place. It looks absolutely gorgeous inside. It's going to be a dojo, martial arts, different types of martial arts for kids and for adults. So I think that's something we used to have, we don't have anymore, so that'll be nice. And 150 Delaware on the corner of Townsend and Delaware, you saw there's one place there has a hair place and your barber also, you can get your haircut. There's two other storefronts. One, I heard, could be a yoga place, and someone's looking to do some kind of Whole Foods in the other one. So that's good. Papa's Diner is opening up. It's going to be called Gabby Ray's. October 3rd is going to be the opening day. They're going to open from 6:30 in the morning till at night. And I spoke to the father and the daughter, and they said they're going to have specials on Friday, like Pete used to have years ago, prime ribs and fish and things like that. But it's another storefront that's going to be full. And we're next to the Chinese restaurant, the two end stores. There's a lady that took those two stores. She's still working on them. One is going to be a second-hand store for like furniture and stuff, and the other one is going to be like a catalog store where you can order stuff for the house and cleaning and stuff that's no chemicals in it, that's harmful to people. So I wish her luck with that too. So we're moving in a good direction. I've got a few phone calls tonight, so some people looking for office space and things like that. Also at 150 Delaware, if you don't know, on the second floor there's an art gallery there, and they're doing good. And so I think that we're moving in a very good direction.
First Fridays was a big success. Everybody loved it. The guy that put the gallery at 150 Delaware, isn't he the one who initiated it?
Yep.
So good job. It was nice.
So yeah, everything. So I think we're finally moving in a pretty good positive direction. I hope we just continue. I'll keep calling and talk to everybody I can. So.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Your weekly Facebook thing that you used to do was very good. You should do that.
I had a couple of people ask me. I only stopped because I don't want to think I was kind of grandstanding or doing something, but then I realized that a lot of people do listen to it. So I already spoke. I'm going to start doing them again. Keep everybody informed.
No, also, Papa's Diner. They're going to open that, correct?
Yeah, I said that. It's going to be called Gabby Ray's. So my goal, hopefully our goal, and not mine, I mean ours as a board, is to try and get all of these storefronts full on Delaware Street like it used to be years ago. I mean, it's different businesses, but at least if we get something down there, maybe people will start walking down and other things. We're in the process now for applying for a grant for Main Street. If you go into some stores, you're going to see a little poster with a questionnaire on it. One question, what would you do, one question about Delaware Street, what changes would you make? There's 3 grants out there it's called New York Forward. 1 grant is for $4.8 million, and there's 2 smaller grants for $2.4 million. The county chamber is helping me work on this to get this done, to apply for it. And if we could get it, one of the things I would like to do, once the board approves it, back in 2005, when I first became mayor, we Delaware engineers did a plan of taking down all the telephone poles and burying the wires. And you ought to see how great it looks just doing that with nothing else. So that's one of the things we'd like to do. And then work on the facades, all the facades down. So if we could get something like that. So we'll see what happens. And that's all I have. We need to go into executive session to talk about the police contract. We need a motion?
Motion to go into executive session.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Probably the best person to do this.